Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, wonderful, hardworking, super smart, playing hurt, but still here, and New Year's loving wife and co-host, Michelle.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Yes, Michelle is playing hurt today. She wrenched her back yesterday and has been laid up a little bit, but she sucked it up, toughed it out, and she is here to do this episode. So thank you very much, sweetheart.
It's my pleasure. It's fun doing the episode with you.
Yes, always fun to be
I'll
with
just
you.
be a little robotic,
Yes,
a little droid-like today.
If she's squirming a little bit or whatever, she's got an ice pack on back there and everything. So she's just kind of tolerating this, but we're going to make our way through it. And that's just kind of the trooper that she is,
please.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Not a big deal.
thank you for joining us today. We hope you had a very Merry Christmas, a very happy holidays. We are recording this episode on Sunday, December 27th, 2020, heading to finally the end of 2020.
Yes. It's so close to have New Year's here, and we're looking forward to celebrating and looking forward to what's coming ahead.
Yes, and we'll be talking a lot about that in today's episode. We're happy that you found us here today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
You'll get to sign up for the newsletter if you'd like. And there's actually going to be a little special something that is included this week for newsletter subscribers only.
ooh, I don't know what that is, but that sounds like more work for me. But I'm happy to do it just the same for you, our newsletter subscribers. Yes, please sign up for our newsletter. It's just a way to kind of get more involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. And we just love we love everybody, but we especially love our newsletter subscribers.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you. And just as a reminder, we don't share that email address with anybody.
We don't. We keep it just for ourselves, just like we are keeping everything for ourselves for our Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame final ballot. Now, we are having a little giveaway that's involved with that. So we are asking you for your name and the city you're from and your email. So if you want to enter, we know where to contact you if you should win your prize. However, you don't need to do that to do that final ballot. This will be the last week for the final ballot. Matter of fact, we're cutting it off on at midnight on December 31st of 2020. So you want to get those ballots in, and then coming up here in our next episode, we will announce our second annual class for our Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame.
It's exciting and looking forward to it.
Yeah. We actually have to cast our own votes. We haven't voted yet, so we still need to do our own voting. So also, if you want to follow along with us, please check us out on social media. We have a lot of fun with a lot of friends and family members and a lot of people in the Disney community on social media. And you can find us there on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We also do have a YouTube channel. You might want to check out some of these videos on YouTube. If you want to check us out there, just do a search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Hit subscribe, and you know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
We do love hearing from you. For those of you who do send us emails from time to time throughout the week, it's a fun thing to get, and we just want to always let you know if you have any questions about any of the material we talk about, or if there's a topic that you think you'd love to have us research. We would enjoy doing that for you.
Yes, very much so. We come up with plenty of ideas for episodes, but we want to know what you want to listen to. So if there's something out there that you want us to hear us talk about, or want to have your own input in as well, please hit us up through any of those ways that I've just discussed. Now, as for today's show, we have a lot of stuff for you this week, including another segment of the Walt Disney World Resort is getting set to reopen. We'll talk a little bit about that. And a classic Disneyland attraction got reimagined this week with there's shocking people on both sides of it. Surprising. We'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That was an interesting article or interesting news item.
Right, and we'll definitely discuss that. But let's get to our main topic of the week. So yes, with it wrapping up 2020, we thought we'd going to go through and all the things that kind of happened this year. But you know us, This has been an unprecedented, weird, strange, and many times depressing year.
Really?
But we are, but yeah, I don't know if you've heard. But we're not that. We're not. We try to always stay positive. I mean, there's plenty of bad news out there. There's plenty of stuff that if you want to look more on the downer side of things, you can find that. It doesn't take far to go to get that. So we always want to be that kind of oasis for you every week of positivity. And, so we decided, look, we're going to look back at 2020, but keep it positive. And when I was going through this, I was actually surprised. Not that I didn't know that there were a lot of good things that happened for Disney in 2020. But the list was lengthy, and I'm not going to get to everything today because it's just no way the segment would go on forever. It's actually, there's been a lot of wonderful things that happened with Disney in 2020.
Right. Not surprising. And it's hard to sometimes remember that because of all the other things that are happening in life. But I know you shared that information with me, even though you didn't share information with me. And so I'm very anxious to hear a lot of these wonderful things that have happened with the Disney company.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some things that are some of the things that you'll remember that are some of your favorite things that maybe we don't list, and we'll love to hear from you about those later. But here's what I came up with. And by the way, what we're going to do here is I'm going to just kind of run through this thing because there's a lot of stuff to go through. And at the end, and look back at 2020, and then we're going to go to Michelle, who's going to look ahead to 2021 and some of the many great things that we have coming up Disney-wise in 2021. So Michelle, I'm just going to run through this,
all right.
But if there's something you want to pause me on and comment on or anything, just give me the high sign or whatever.
Will do.
And we'll discuss any of these topics. But like I said, there's so much to go through that I'm just going to kind of run through a lot of these things. So, and I'm going to go month by month, starting in obviously January when the world seemed pretty normal, back in 2020. And we kicked off the new year by announcing our inaugural class of the Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame. Some of these are going to be, most of these are going to be Disney. There's going to be a few personal things for us in here as well. I hope you don't mind with that. So just kind of some highlights that we enjoyed as well. So anyway, we had a great time with that, and it's only expanded this year, and we're looking forward to the second year of that coming up here in our next episode.
Right. I mean, it was phenomenal how much participation we had in the first one, and the second one is really rallying as well. Yeah. So we appreciate that.
Yes, we appreciate all you for chiming in and helping us out with that. So moving on through January, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance opened at Galaxy's Edge within the Disneyland Resort on January 17th, placing this amazing attraction on both coasts. As you may remember, in 2019 in December, it opened over at Walt Disney World Resort, Disney Hollywood Studios. Opened up at Disneyland in January of that year. We still have not been, we've been in Walt Disney World.
Right.
Because of everything that's happened this year, we have not been on the Disneyland one yet.
So funny.
Yeah, so weird. Disneyland also held its first ever Disneyland After Dark 80s night ticket event, which we attended, and it was rad.
It really was so cute. Very fun. Their after dark events are always filled with a lot of surprises, and this one definitely held some very unique and fun activities and brought back some music and dancing, and it was
Videopolis. And remember, I think my favorite thing was over they had the Tom Sawyer Island boats out there, and there was a band playing 80s tunes just kind of going through the rivers of America, which was really fun. That was cool. Yeah,
it was like back and forth. And so that gave everybody along the waterway there a great view of what their performances were.
Yeah, that was a good time. For sure. So moving to February now. On February 3rd, Disney announced that it had reached a deal with our favorite person, well, at least my man crush, Lin-Manuel Miranda, to release the smash Broadway hit Hamilton, an American musical, in theaters in October of 2021. We'll be revisiting that topic, trust me.
Really?
But that was exciting news when that happened, And
I remember thinking, 2021, why would it take that long? And it's not like they're starting from scratch with a new movie, but it was funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Now it's funny, and we'll talk about that as well. On February 8th, we took a trip to the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank. This is a personal note for us, where the D23, the fan club, held its 75th anniversary screening of The Three Caballeros.
Right.
Yeah.
That was great fun, and the speakers were amazing, and as they always do, they make it just really much more special than going and watching a movie. Plus, you're right there on the studios a lot, and
Right.
it's a magical place.
If you ever get a chance, if you're a D23 member or you decide to join up for D23 and get a chance to go to some of these screenings or the events they have there at the studios,
Right.
it's amazing. Definitely take advantage of that. On February 21st, the 7th and final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars debuted on Disney Plus, and what a season that was. It was
Yes.
amazing, start to finish, especially the last 3 episodes. Crazy good.
Right. Yeah, totally. It was actually very thrilling, I think.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Tied up a very interesting storyline. It's sad. I mean, I teared up as I do. for
Really?
everything at the
Shocking.
end, so moving into March, we had a spectacular opening of what was, by all accounts, an amazing attraction as Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway began operation at Disney's Hollywood Studios at the Walt Disney World Resort. We haven't been able to try it out for ourselves, but everybody who we've talked to about it says it's an amazing ride.
Right, exactly. And something we're looking forward to on the West Coast at some point.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to our chance to go visit it out at the Walt Disney World Resort soon. As we all know, March was when things got crazy, okay? So, but we actually we began our very interesting westbound Panama Canal cruise in March when this was all going on. We flew to New Orleans on March 4th, spent a couple days there, then we sailed on March 6th. I'm not going to get into all the details of that cruise. You should listen to that episode if you have just joined us. I know we've added some listeners since that sailing, or since that episode and since that sailing. Really, you should go back and listen to it because it's a very interesting story of what happened to us on that sailing.
Right. It's really interesting how the Disney company handled that, both from, just a cruise entertainment perspective as well as a safety perspective. And there's a lot of very interesting, unique things about that cruise.
Definitely. So go back and listen to that episode if you haven't already, or if you want to go back and listen to it because it's really fascinating stuff. So on the same day we sailed, Pixar's new feature film Onward debuted in theaters on March 6th. But with all the insanity happening, Disney opened it up for digital download on March 20th. They moved that up very quickly. And then they added it to Disney Plus on April 3rd. So you had that opportunity. We got to see it on that cruise we were on. And then when we got back, Frozen 2 was released on Disney Plus way ahead of schedule. They did that on March 13th, because of everything that was all the craziness that was going on. People were at home looking for content. And hey, hashtag real men love Frozen. What better content is than Frozen 2? On March 24th, Disney Plus debuted in several countries throughout Europe, including the United Kingdom, Ireland, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Austria, and Switzerland. So really opened it up for Disney Plus in Europe.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. In April, Disney announced, this is a good follow-up for that. In April, Disney Plus announced that they hit 50 million subscribers at that point. Quite a milestone for Disney Plus. That was, what they've only been available for like 5 months at that point since they debuted in November of 2019. On April 16th, ABC debuted the first of 3 Disney family sing-alongs, which I think they've all been great and much needed and bright spots during this time. Some have been better. We love the holiday one. I thought the holiday one was the best of them, but we enjoyed them all. Of course, that had many celebrities singing from their homes or various areas across the country, Disney songs you know and love, while encouraging everybody to join in, as we all do anyway. On April 17th, we released a video of us, and speaking of singing along, several of our Disney podcasting friends, where we all got together to sing Go the Distance. If you haven't seen that video, I don't know if I recommend it, but go
it
check.
Was fun.
It's on our YouTube channel. If you want to check it out, please bear with us. We're podcasters. We're not singers, although there were a few of the podcasters that did have pretty good voices, but it was all just in good nature to kind of just inspire people, give people a smile during a time that was pretty tough on many people.
Right. And that was one of your first few times that you were really doing the video portion too of, what we put out as a product. So so it was a lot of fun to put together. It was a lot of fun to collaborate with all these friends we have through the Disney podcasting community, and we had a great time with it. Again, if you haven't seen it before and you go and watch it, just
note, we are not singers, but it is fun, and we hope you get a chuckle and a smile out of it if you go back and check it out. So, moving to May, we had a big Star Wars day on May the 4th be with you. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, was released on Disney Plus. Also, Disney Gallery Star Wars The Mandalorian debuted on that streaming platform as well.
What's it called?
Do I have to go through it again? Disney Gallery Star Wars The Mandalorian, which was a great behind-the-scenes look of everything that happened in Season 1 of The Mandalorian, and really enjoyed that. And it really provides a lot of depth to the series as you go through it. Yeah,
you can really appreciate much more of what the product that they produced after watching those episodes of that. And it was fun going back and rewatching the Mandalorian Season 1 after.
Yep, and then going back and watching the gallery again, and then going back. Yeah, I mean, it's been a cycle for us. On May 11th, Shanghai Disneyland reopened. So that was some great news that we started to see some parks beginning to reopen. The next day, on May 12th, we had a special episode where we spoke with former Executive Vice President of Operations for the Walt Disney World Resort, Lee Cockrell. He came on with us, perfect timing, and he had some brilliant things to say about how Disney World might go about reopening. And he was pretty prophetic as to how it was going to go about happening. Right.
I mean, and he really did share a lot of information with how the Disney company approaches issues and some tragedies that they've had in the past, how they actually drill for some of these things so that they are able to more promptly respond to situations, but ultimately with the goal of keeping everybody not only actually safe, but feeling safe.
Yeah, and then they go over and above to make sure that they feel that way, because it's just what Disney does. So it was really a great conversation. If you haven't listened to it, go back and find it, because it really was good. Even now, it still holds true. Yeah, it's still good. Also on May 12th, and what have been maybe the most exciting story for me and for us the year, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but that Disney announced that Hamilton, an American musical, will be released much earlier than first said. Rather than October 2021, it was going to be in 2020 on July 3rd on Disney Plus.
I know. So not only was it so much sooner released, but it was in a platform that we could actually appreciate it right away, because theaters were closed.
But I immediately got in contact with our good friends Keenan and Rachel from part of our Royal Podcast, who are big Hamilton fans as well, and we scheduled a couple of shows between the two of us where we broke down Hamilton both on our show and on their show, which was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Also on May 20th, Walt Disney World did start to reopen as Disney Springs opened. It began its phased reopening. It was a progressive thing, a few shops to begin with, and more. Now it's pretty much wide open at this point. In June, we celebrated our second anniversary as a podcast with some touching tributes with amazing friends that we've gotten to know from doing this show, which is one of the best things about doing this show. Right.
It's been such a, and I know we've talked about this before, it's been such a wonderful experience for us to have this additional outlet to talk about Disney. It's just been so incredibly phenomenal to get to know people with similar interests and having a great time with people that we would have never otherwise come in contact with.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the biggest thing about this. I mean, obviously, what we do this because we love talking Disney with one another, and we look forward to this time every week, planning these out and then doing these shows together. But the biggest surprise was the friends that we've made throughout this, and they've been amazing people, and we're so blessed to have gotten to know you and all the rest of them out there.
Yeah, getting to interact with people, and it's awesome.
It's been a wonderful benefit. On June 4th, the NBA announced that it would complete the 2019-2020 regular season and playoffs within the Walt Disney World Resort beginning on July 9th. Of course, that was the famous NBA bubble that worked pretty darn well for it. They were able to pull that off, so that was pretty good. The sports news continued on June 10th as Major League Soccer and Disney announced that their season would restart with a tournament at the Walt Disney World Resort that kicked kicked off on July 8th. So, Disney opened it up, say, look, these sports franchises, come on in. We've got some open space for you to do these things.
Well, having the sports complex is really a great benefit, not only for the company, but for fans of sports.
For sure. Also, Disney Plus made its debut in another country on June 11th as it started streaming on that day in Japan. So that was cool.
Yeah.
On June 18th, Hong Kong Disneyland began welcoming guests again. That was good news. Of course, many of these parks have been open for a while, closed for a while, open again, but that was nice to see them be able to reopen over there. On June 25th, we found out that Disney would be reimagining Splash Mountain with a new theme based on the fan favorite film, The Princess and the Frog.
I know, such exciting news. That was really so sweet to hear that announcement and know that there had already been some work on the concept art for it as well in progress. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing more about that as they really delve into it, once they really kind of get into it and start reimagining it.
Right.
I think it's going to be amazing. So on June 26th, Into the Unknown, the making of Frozen 2 debuted on Disney Plus. And this allowed me to make my Disney Plus debut as well a few weeks later. That's why it made the list. But it was a great show. It's another great behind the scenes peek at how some of these films are made.
I know. Their transparency was pretty impressive. And just to see how, it was incredible to see things that you'd just expect were already packaged up nicely before moving along were not completed even just weeks before the actual release of the film. So that was pretty amazing behind the scenes look.
It was interesting to see all the stuff they had to go through to make sure a film like this is put together and a very good film.
Right.
Of course, me, hashtag Real Time Frozen. On July 1st, Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Tokyo Sea reopened. So that was great news. As promised, on July 3rd, Hamilton, an American musical, premiered on Disney Plus to rave reviews. We're still not tired of it. As a matter of fact, we were watching it last night.
Right. That's true. And you liked how I did that? That's true. But, the other thing that we got to appreciate more when that was released is, young people would not have probably had the opportunity to see that type of performance, incorporating history along with, more modern stylistic portrayal. And, that really opened up for people all over the world to be able to appreciate this, that they might not have otherwise.
Yeah, people, the theater, how tough it is to get a ticket to Hamilton. Even the touring company, it's really tough to get a ticket to Hamilton. This opened it up to the world so they could all get it and get the best view possible of it. And it's brilliant. It still is brilliant.
Right.
It'll always be brilliant to me. So moving on, a few days later, I did my cross-country journey to bring our son Scott from Miami in Florida, obviously, all the way out here to California. That was quite an interesting 4-day excursion from roads to hotels and with a lot of Hamilton played on that trip, by the way. On July 9th, the downtown Disney district at the Disneyland Resort reopened. So we got a little piece of Disneyland reopening. And unfortunately, we haven't seen much more out of that. But that was nice to see at least a little bit of it reopen. People here in Southern California being able to get a little bit of more Disney in their lives.
Exactly. And actually to go into shops that had Disney products rather than just everything online.
Right. Exactly. So also that month, Walt Disney World Resort began its phased reopening as well. Magic Kingdom and Disney's Animal Kingdom welcomed guests back on July 11th. And Disney's Hollywood Studios and Epcot reopened on July 15th. So that was great news for a lot of people to be able to get out there and get, even as limited as it is at that point, I believe it was 25% capacity and it still is not exactly huge capacity right now, but at least it was, a little bit of a bright spot for so many people to get to go back and enjoy that piece of Disney.
Right. Touching the magic.
For sure. On July 17th, we did get to celebrate a little bit, sort of Disneyland's 65th birthday We thought we were going to get to celebrate it more,
Right.
but it's still 65 years old, and Disneyland's going to be there eventually, and we're going to be back at it for so soon. I forgot and skipped over on July 15th. Also, Disneyland Paris resumed operations as well. On July 30th, Pixar announced Luca, a new feature film that will be released on June 18th in 2021. Said it will be a coming-of-age adventure set in Italy that I'm excited about. I think you are as well.
Yes.
On July 31st, we received some new Muppets content with Muppets Now, which debuted on Disney+. Moving to August, speaking of new content, we saw a brand new movie from a beloved franchise of ours, which debuted on Disney+, and that is Phineas and Ferb, the movie, Candace Against the Universe, that premiered on August 28th. I know Michelle has something to say about that.
Well, it really, it was a great movie to see them very fluidly bring back the characters and the storylines. And the more I watch it, the more I appreciate the messages that they're sharing with everybody and the importance now, even more than ever, of those messages.
Right, for sure. Yeah, it's a good film. It really is. It's really good. And if you're a Phineas and Ferb fan, you'll enjoy it. But if you're a Phineas and Ferb fan, you've probably already seen it. So, moving on to September. On September 4th, the live-action version of Disney's Mulan debuted on Disney Plus with an extra $29.99 premiere access charge. But considering that people weren't able to get, for the most part, to theaters to go see it, it wasn't unreasonable to, if you wanted to really see this film, to pay that charge, especially if you have like a family of 4 or 5, and that was what you might have been paying more of than the theater anyway.
And it was a great way to introduce the concept of maybe having this for the future, which now we have learned is going to be more of an available option in the future of being able to simultaneously see some new releases at home. And yes, you'll pay a little more for that premium package on those episodes or those movies. But, like you said, if it's a family of 4 or, what you would pay to go at a theater with tickets, not to mention any food or snacks, it's not a bad deal. And there are some benefits of being at home in the comfort of your home.
Yeah, we tend to be snobs, so we will go to theaters that kind of have the recliners. May get a little more upscale food. Not all the time, but we do enjoy going to a theater like that that's nearby here when we could go to theaters. And that $30. We didn't pay for this film. We decided to wait on it. And I'm actually glad we did. But we decided to wait on it. But it wouldn't have been unheard of for us to pay $30 if we were to have gone out to the theaters for just the two of us. So it's totally made sense in many ways. So moving on to October, we returned to a galaxy far, far away on October 30th when season 2 of The Mandalorian returned. And what a season it was. It was just great from the beginning. It zoomed through the entire season, just wrapped up a couple weeks ago. And wow, was it amazing.
Yeah, it was great. You had season 1 with a lot of character development, and now in the second season you really got to see more of the story evolving, and it was spectacular.
It really was.
Yeah,
there was no let up any episodes all season long.
Yeah.
It was just go, and it was great. So moving on to November. On November 12th, Disney Plus celebrated its first birthday. Again, happy birthday, Disney Plus. We don't know where we would be without you, and we also don't know where the Disney company would be without you right now.
True.
So,
yeah.
Meanwhile, another little piece of the Disneyland Resort returned when Buena Vista Street within Disney California Adventure Park reopened for some dining and shopping options on November 19th. That was good to get a little piece of that again. Moving on to the month we're in right now, in December. On December 10th, a ton of future film and television news came out of a Disney Investor Day.
Right.
We've discussed that just a couple of episodes. So much stuff. A ton of stuff from Hulu, ESPN Plus, FX, Nat Geo, Disney, Lucasfilm, Pixar, and Marvel, including 10 new Star Wars series, 10 Marvel series, 15 Disney Pixar series, and 15 Disney Pixar features. It was an amazing day of listing of things to look forward to. And I'm sure maybe Michelle will get through some of those anyway coming up here.
Well, I kind of thought you'd be capturing that in the announcements there. So I tried to scale back on duplicating things. Yeah. So
I couldn't go back a couple episodes if you want me to go through everything that was not even everything. Many of the things that were talked about. I'm not going to do it here, but there was so much good news that came out of Disney Investor Day. Exactly. So much exciting news.
Yeah. Agreed. So
finally, December 25th, just a couple days ago, Pixar's new animated feature film Soul premiered on Disney Plus, and I don't know what Michelle thinks. Actually, I do. I loved it. I think we may be simpatico on that.
Yes, definitely. It was fabulous. I mean, first of all, again, this was a film that was slated to be released in theaters, so the quality of the product that they produced was amazing, and the story is phenomenal. There are a lot of great, unique aspects that they introduced us to, and just loved it. Loved the story, loved the characters, the culture that they embraced. It was just really phenomenal.
The music was so good. I thought the story was fascinating. I wasn't, because we saw some stuff from it back at the D23 Expo in 2019, and it didn't go exactly. We're not going to give any spoilers here. It didn't go exactly the way I thought it was going to go, but I love the direction they took with it.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So really good. Highly recommended. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's a very, very it's one of Pixar's made so many great movies. It's one of their better films, in my opinion.
Right.
Personally.
Yeah, definitely.
So, also on December 25th, season 2, the Disney Gallery Star Wars The Mandalorian debuted. It's pretty much just one episode where they kind of recapped, behind the scenes of the entire season 2. And it was, again, another great look inside the making of a series that we love.
Yeah, definitely. And again, when they share that information, it's just so special to be able to get that behind the scenes look of things, and getting to appreciate more details that maybe you didn't capture as you were going through, but also like how they shared, and I won't give details away, but how the Mandalorian series really drew from the history of the company of Lucasfilms and Star Wars, reimagining or bringing in artwork that may have been first considered for one film in the original trilogy, and now being brought onto the screen here for Mandalorian. It's just really fun to hear those things.
Yeah, it's a great, again, check it out. It just provides that much more depth to it, what is a wonderful, amazing series. So definitely check that out. So like I said, I could have gotten to a lot more, but I didn't want to take up this whole episode just going through. There were a ton of positive things that happened in 2020, as much as we've been, having to be mired in the negative for 2020. There were a ton of positive Disney things. I listed several of them there, but there were a lot more that I didn't get to. So, but that's pretty much kind of my recap of what we saw in 2020 from Disney.
Good job. I think you covered a lot of great highlights for sure. I think, it shows that the Disney company responded to people's wants and needs during such a time of crisis. Things that they've offered in addition to those things, like on Disney Parks blog with some of the at-home activities, whether it would be, cast members coming on and doing some performances, showing things from, the Disney Cruise Line, some of the productions that go on there, and just crafts that people could do at home. They really did, do so much to bring positivity to people's lives through this time.
The best they could, considering how tough these last several months have been. But
exactly.
There have been some great things that come out of Disney Plus, and I know there's some that things that I didn't bring up there. And what are some of your highlights from Disney and from your own Disney life? The Disney pieces in your life. If you want to share them with us, please hit us up on our Gmail account or on social media or whatever, and we'll share them on an upcoming show. But that's looking back at 2020. 2020. Now we're heading forward. We're moving into 2021. Many people say, thank goodness. But I'm excited to find out what Michelle has researched, because she always does the best research as to what the good things, the good Disney things that are coming up in 2021. Michelle, please let us know.
All right. And as I mentioned, I didn't want to duplicate things that either you just brought up now with some of the announcements, as well as on one of our prior episodes where we went into a lot of detail. So this is a little bit scaled back in that it's talking about some of the things going on in parks, etc. in 2021. And I really did just focus on things that were actually being released in 2021. There's still more things happening in 2021, and some things they're just not necessarily right now able to say it's definitely going to be opened in 2021. So I really focused just on the things we're pretty darn sure are going to be happening.
Good.
So starting here on the West Coast with the Disneyland Resort at the Disney California Avengers campus at the Disney California Adventure Park. And the progress is still going on with the completion of the Web Slingers attraction. It's actually called Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure.
Ooh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. At the Worldwide Engineer Brigade, aka Web, building that will house the new attraction. And as the story goes, Peter Parker has these helpful but somewhat buggy spider bots that go into a replication mode and go a little bit out of control and take over the Avengers campus. And so guests get to board these web slinger vehicles and help Spider-Man at kind of like trapping these spider bots to keep from total chaos taking over and regain control of the campus. Yeah. So there are no age or height limitations in this ride. It will be a dark ride that will, have some loud sounds to it as they report. It very much looks like the kind of attraction as the Toy Story Midway Mania, which is really good because that is really a popular attraction that it's really tough to get on when you are at the park. So it's kind of nice to have another option that's very family friendly in this regard.
Yeah, and you can have your fun family competitions going through it, see who gets the most of these little spider bots and everything. And I love those attractions. I'm sure it's going to be a blast.
Right. And similarly, that's going on at Disneyland Paris as well, because they are having the plans to have the Marvel campuses at various parks that can actually have storylines that interrelate.
Yeah, and ones that can actually have Marvel in their parks. Unfortunately, Walt Disney World at this point can't, there's too many rules against them over there, some contract deals that they've made in the past. But good that Disneyland and Disneyland Paris that were, and some of the Asian parks have some Marvel stuff as well.
Exactly. So also opening, since we're talking about Disneyland Paris, is actually not opening, reimagining the Disney's Hotel New York. It's going to be marvelous. And the reimagining of that hotel is actually going to make it be called the Disney's Hotel New York, The Art of Marvel. And it's going to house... it's going to be the first hotel dedicated exclusively or entirely for celebration of Marvel and the artistry of Marvel. It's going to be the largest collection of Marvel art in a location. And it really makes sense that it's embracing New York as that's where they're connecting it with, because as we've seen in whether it's Marvel Comics or movies, New York is very much
central,
a hub to the storyline. So it makes sense connecting that genre with that hotel. So, really giving it that immersive feeling. If you're a Marvel fan, this is the place for you to be.
We saw some artwork for it, some conceptual art for it at D23 Expo in 2019. And it looked, we wanted to go.
Exactly.
It looked great. It looked like that place we want to visit for sure.
So some of the things that they've shared with some of the restaurants and lounges is they will have the Manhattan restaurant, which will evoke the land of Asgard. Great ceiling type artwork that you'll be able to see as well. They'll have a downtown restaurant where guests will be immersed in again, the most Marvel per square meter experience. And topping it off, literally, will be the sleek Skyliner bar, and that will present panoramic views of New York City and the legendary Avengers Tower.
Wonderful.
I know.
Sounds great.
It is. It does.
We have some thoughts that sometime in the next couple of years we're going to be making a trip back to Europe, and Disneyland Paris is a key part of that.
Yes.
So especially once they get all this new stuff opened out there, that we'll be excited to check out. So,
right. And we're excited because, and I know we've mentioned this on a past episode, when we went to Disneyland Paris, especially in the resorts, going in and visiting the different resorts and having a bite to eat or a drink at some of their lounges, the feel of those resorts just didn't really provide the same level of Disney that you would see, here in the United States. And it's great to see that the company has really decided to make the switch and really bring in the Disney culture to those resorts.
Yeah. Well, at that time when we visited, the 2 times that we visited, Disney was just a partner in it. They didn't completely run the place.
Right.
So it had that, Disney touch, but it didn't have the complete Disney feel. Since then, they have purchased out all the shares. They now run it, and they put in $1 billion into some of the, revamping and reimagining that. And we're excited to check it out since all the changes since we have last been there.
Yeah, it'll be cool. So continuing on with Disneyland Paris, they are also going to have their Disney Junior Dream Factory opening up, and that kids and their parents will be invited to experience what they call an immersive musical show. And it'll incorporate not only some of the newer characters that you might think of, like Vampirina and Timon, but they're also going to incorporate some of the classics like Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. So, and finally they are upping the game with Pixar Cars attraction where they're going to be having there. It does not sound at all like the one that's here at California Adventure Park.
Completely different. Yeah.
Right. So that's cool. But guests will be taken on a road trip and get to see, some of the characters from it. And they actually even feature a Dynaco tanker truck there. So
it's if you remember the backstage lot tour from Disney's Hollywood Studios, well, they had that also at the Walt Disney Studios in Disneyland Paris as well. It's basically that same tanker truck that catches fire or whatever, but they put Dynaco to it. It'll be interesting to see how they've used it and just kind of repurposed it, and reimagined it. So that'd be fun.
Yeah. So a little different, but that's exciting.
Yeah.
So coming back here to the United States, East Coast, Walt Disney World has announced that they will have some new features in 2021, and the first one is obviously the Remy Ratatouille adventure at Epcot. Not too long ago, they actually put up the new marquee for that, so it is coming. It's really sounding like they're doing great progress on that. It is another one of the trackless attractions, which we're seeing Disney company use that more and more, and it really is producing a higher level of entertainment than what you see in some of the more traditional attractions. Not that they're bad; we love them still, but it does give them an ability to do some different techniques that you wouldn't otherwise be able to experience. This is a 3D kind of exciting ride where you're actually kind of shrunken down to the size of a mouse, and it's similar to the movie where Remy is on the running through the kitchen and on the cart and things like that, how he's perceiving the world of the kitchen and the restaurant. You're allowed to have that same type of experience, and they've had this attraction at Disneyland Paris. We got to experience it's really
blast.
It's a fun attraction.
Especially if you enjoy that movie.
Right.
Because
yes.
it does put you right into that movie.
Exactly. That is true. So, that's fun. The other really exciting news then coming that is still saying opening in 2021 is Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser.
We have our bank account building up so we can drain it just for that.
So you can, with all the things that are coming out, you can feel the progress happening in a galaxy far, far away, in this new type of hotel experience. They have been very successful at cruises, as we've talked about in the past and many times, and having that family cruise experience, and this is taking the learnings that they've had to that and putting it here in a whole much more immersive, unique experience. Obviously, you will, unlike other hotels, you will board as a group with everybody boarding in at the same time. But you'll get to experience the same kind of things you would think of in the sense of a cruise, that you have your cabin, you go to dining that is, very immersive of that, and the entertainment and activities will definitely draw into the Star Wars theme. And if you're a fan, this is going to be an amazing experience. It is 2-day only, but we've taken a 2-day cruise on the Disney cruise, and you do get to have a couple dinners, you have several meals, and show and entertainment. Here they actually are having the passengers of this cruise actually get to go to Batu on a very exclusive experience there. That would be unlike what you would if you were just going to the Disney Hollywood Studios.
It's from everything we've seen about it, because we saw a lot of peeks at it at the D23 Expo in 2019, and the fun that you're going to get to experience it. Yes, you're going to be completely immersed for that. It's 2 nights, so you'll be in there for a portion of one day, a full day, which will probably be your day that you go to Batu, and then the next morning or whatever when you would depart.
Early checkout.
Yeah. And but it sounds like it's going to be so amazing. You're going to get to go and visit the bridge, and something might just happen when you're on the bridge,
right.
Also there's lightsaber training, that's going to be involved with that as well. It just sounds unbelievable, and it just seems like my childhood dreams come to life.
Right, exactly.
Batu was already that. Black Spire Outpost, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, getting to walk into that land and, be immersed in Star Wars is already that. Getting to spend 2 full days just completely there.
Right.
I just can't get over it. I'm so excited for when that happens, and we have to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
At least once. Yeah.
And I think, we'll hear more and more about it as it gets closer to being available. But some things to keep in mind is, just as on a cruise ship, your room is not giant. No. And so it is an efficient use of space that you'll be able to experience. But I think that's also with the charm of, a Star Cruiser, right? You wouldn't expect that it's going to have these giant, luxurious rooms for everybody.
I think they're going to have a couple of rooms that are a bit bigger, for obviously a lot more money.
Right.
But yeah, mostly you're going to be intimate, but it's only just a couple nights, and then you can move on, and whether that's your entire vacation or you decide to go stay somewhere else at the Walt Disney World Resort or even off property, and you can kind of arrange for things differently. It's just 2 nights there.
Exactly. And it makes sense to do it that way. I mean, again, talk about being very immersive. So you really, anytime you're looking out windows or anything, you're going to be in that world of Star Wars, in the galaxy. You will, it will be very different than, even on a cruise ship. I know some people feel on a cruise ship, I'm at sea, and will I feel claustrophobic or whatever. This is very much going to be a more unique experience in that regards. Yeah.
And we will be doing it. I mean, we've committed that we are going to, unless it's we have to sell our house to do it. Maybe even then. No. But we've committed that we will make this one-time splurge to get to do it at least once, in our life.
So the other thing at Walt Disney World, and I really won't get into details, but, as they're approaching for the 50th anniversary, which is really exciting, just the sprucing up of things that are going on, the more of the expansion or reimagination of Epcot. We're hearing more and more, about things that have happened with that and are in progress with that. And so I think it will be a very exciting year that, going to the parks, even throughout the year, you're going to be able to experience different things. And I think that's really wonderful that the magic just continues to grow.
We got a little peek of that this week when they really showcased the reopening of the opening area of Epcot heading into Spaceship Earth with the new fountain there and everything. And it's gorgeous. It looks beautiful. And everybody who's even been there said it's wonderful. It's spectacular.
Right,
exactly. It's such an improvement over where it was. And we're looking forward to getting to experience that for ourselves coming up here in a little bit.
Yes. So anyways, that is a look of, what's definitely coming ahead in 2021. As I mentioned at the beginning, there may be other things that haven't officially been announced as being actually ready to open in 2021. But even if we just have this, it's fabulous.
Yep, those are all great things. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more things that will be announced, things that, are possibly going to open that will be confirmed as we move closer to and on through the year and as things get better around us.
Exactly.
And so all things to look forward to. So thank you, Michelle. Michelle's research, always the best research.
Thank you.
So we'd love to know what you think. Again, what were your Disney highlights, in whether it be actual Disney stuff or Disney in your life in 2020? And what are you looking forward to in 2021? Please share it with us, and we will share it with everybody else on an upcoming show. So once again, Happy New Year, everybody. It's so good that we're getting through 2020. Whatever this year you want to look back and think of this year, how we will in the future. It's going to be very interesting to see, 5-10 years down the road, what we think of 2020 and everything that we went through during this year. But it's good to see there were bright spots that maybe kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit in 2020, and that there's so much greatness to come in 2021.
Right. And as much as there's been so much hardship too, even just with people, that some of the brightest stories have come out of how people have rallied for each other.
Of hope and charity. And just there has been good news out there. It just kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. Speaking of good news, let's get to our Disney stories of the week. And we have a couple for you this week. I'm going to start with, we discussed a lot of things that reopened over the past year. Well, we now know another portion of the Walt Disney World Resort will be reopening. This from the Disney Parks blog. They say, the wait is finally over. Cast members will begin returning soon to prepare Disney's Blizzard Beach for its scheduled reopening on March 7th of 2021. So that's great news for those of you who love to go have a water park as part of your Walt Disney World vacation.
Right. And it's exciting, some of the things that they've announced with that as well. I actually almost put that in my story. So
very good. You may have some stuff because I don't think I had that much on it here as far as what was a part of that. But,
Well, and some of it is just the history of it, having a water park that, has the theming of, a snow blizzard, and that it was one of I think the first ski lift ever in Florida. So cute little things like that, but just, the lazy river, the fun different types of water slides that they have available, the food, everything, the great theming, the cocktails look great. Yeah. So it's
I've never been to any of the Walt Disney World water parks. I have not. I'm just not a water park person in general, and we just don't take up our time to go there usually. But I know you've visited.
Early on, but there's been so much expansion that it's night and day different. So. Kind of cool. Yeah.
But so Blizzard Beach has been open since April 1st of 1995. So this will, the spring will kick off its 25th season. So that's good. As far as for people who have tickets, or you're looking current tickets that include a Park Hopper Plus option or the Water Park and Sport option, can be modified, canceled, or used with the amenities currently open at Walt Disney World. Unused, unexpired water park tickets can be extended through December 31st of 2021 by calling customer service before that park opens on March 7th. And then Disney will resume selling water park annual passes and one-day water park admission at a later date. They didn't say what that date is, but I'm sure as we're getting closer to that, it's going to be just like, the parks are now. It's going to be limited capacity out there. So just be prepared for that. Moving on to the West Coast, even though the parks aren't open here, there are things still happening within Disneyland here on the West Coast. As a matter of fact, a classic Disneyland attraction has been reimagined. We got a virtual peek at it this week. Yeah. This again from the Disney Parks blog. Snow White's Scary Adventures has been undergoing a magical reimagination, and they're excited to share that Disneyland Park's only ride-through princess attraction has been reimagined and renamed as Snow White's Enchanted Wish.
Yay!
Yeah, I think I actually like it personally that they've done that because, look, I mean, it was a fine dark ride attraction. There's nothing wrong with it. It was good, but, scary in the name, it was never one of those attractions unless it was really, really busy that you couldn't just walk onto.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. I think it kind of just the scary in the title drove some kids away, some of the little kids, which is pretty much what you want in Fantasyland, is made for pretty much the little ones more than anything else. And so I just think it kind of drove things away. But now this is, been revamped. It's more embracing. It's more inviting, to bring the little ones in. It's an enchanting wish, not a scary adventure.
Right. Exactly. No, it still tells the story. And like you said, it was an attraction that really wasn't as popular anymore. And, you want to be able to go and have more and more experiences at the parks that they can have and offer. And that's great that they've actually made some improvements here.
Yeah. I mean, I had no problems with Snow White's Scary Adventure. We rode on it a lot. We still enjoyed it a lot. And I would have had no problem if they kept it that way, but I understood why they changed it. And I don't blame them. I think it's probably a good idea. So here's what they did with it. They say, while Disneyland Park has been closed, Walt Disney Imagineering has been putting the finishing touches on this cherished attraction. They've updated this classic with new magic inside and out using state-of-the-art audio and visual technology. I got the audio part right. The visual, always have troubles with that. Including new music, LED black lighting, laser projections, and a new animation system. They say you will delight in new appearances of beloved characters, including Snow White cheerfully dancing and twirling with the 7 dwarfs in the cozy cottage. You may even notice the scent of Doc's handiwork, a baking apple pie wafting through the air before heading off to work we go. They say vibrant new shadow projections bring to life the dwarfs as they march happily off to work and singing, of course, hi-ho. The most dazzling scene is the mine, which sparkles with shimmering lighting effects and glittering jewels all around. From what the video showed that they added, they put a YouTube video with the story. And it looks like they took a lot of, the slowed down scene when the train and the mine trains, the 7 Dwarfs mine train kind of slows down. You can go through the mine. A lot of what you see in there, they've kind of added to this attraction there on the West Coast. So West Coasters are going to get to, obviously it's not the sort of thrill ride that's the 7 Dwarfs Mine Train is. It's a slow, dark ride, but you still get a little of that glimpse and that feeling of Snow White that you get from that attraction.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun. And I think it's going to be great. And we can't wait to see everything at Disneyland Resort again, but I'm excited to check that out once it reopens for sure. So that's it for the Disney Stories of the Week. However, we never leave you with a guy out giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation, no matter where it is. Walt Disney World Resort, once the Disneyland Resort reopens, hey, maybe even Disneyland Paris, Disney Cruise Line. And we always start with Michelle, one, because she's wonderful, awesome. She is the belle of the New Year's ball.
Oh, man. So
but she
sweet.
Also has the very best tip. So let's get right to it. Here's Michelle's tip of the week.
Well, thank you, sweetie. So, when it comes to Disney, there's always ways to experience the magic. And one of them that you can do with your kids, maybe adults, is you can actually get an autographed postcard from them if you send them a letter.
Oh.
And so it usually takes a couple weeks to get the response back. But if you are a subscriber to our newsletter, you will get the address there of where to send your child's letter to, their favorite character, and then be able to receive back an autographed postcard.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. That's really cool. That's a great tip. I had no idea that could happen. I'm going to start Anna, Elsa.
I know, right?
Sven.
That's right. I
want to see Sven's autograph. What is Sven's autograph like?
Yeah, I don't know. And just keep in mind, especially as things are going, and if there are a lot of people not able to get to the characters with the postcard to get signed, you might have something more generic in the sense of from the Fab Five or from various princesses, but you just never know. Those characters are busy, and the people trying to help
lives.
them, and the people trying to hunt them down sometimes might get a little exhausted from chasing down some of these characters. But just know that your child, that's a great thing that they can have the fun doing, that they can write a personalized letter and get something back.
For sure. That's really cool. That's a great tip. Michelle's tips. Always the best tip, and that is a fantastic one. I love that tip. So
Thank you.
Nice. For my tip this week, well, it's not really even a tip at all. It's going to be more of a thank you. We're ending a year that has been unprecedented. Okay. And we've said this in weeks past, but I think we need to say it again because of what everybody's gone through this year. I want to thank a lot of people, and starting with those that are on the front lines fighting what's going on out there, the medical professionals, including Michelle here, who are out there every day dealing with this thing in so many different ways. And, we're going through spikes right now, and you deserve so many thanks and so much appreciation. We can't say it enough. But also not only that, the people who are like the delivery drivers, especially as we're getting through the holiday season, we're all getting our packages in various different ways. Maybe we're not meeting with family and bringing them with you. We're getting a lot of things delivered. But even when we weren't doing this, the people who have been bringing us goods and services all year long, whether it be, of course, different parcels from the post office or, the UPS, FedEx, all those different ones. The food that we get delivered to us many times.
Toilet paper.
Yes. Toilet paper. Thank you for all that you do to make sure that we can, stay vibrant and make it through when we're staying at home so often and not getting out as much. Those that do have to go to work, like the grocery workers, that have been there since day one dealing with this thing and have to fight through this in different ways. All the people that are out there in the different restaurants and food service community, thank you so much for all you've done through this 9 months or so, or whatever it has been, and continues to be. It's not over yet. Thank you for everything you've done. And also, let's talk about the Disney cast members, who have gone through their own turmoils this year, and still those that have been able to hold on to their jobs to this point still go out there with a smile on their face, under their masks, still brightening our day, providing the magic day in and day out.
So true.
Thank you all as well. And I guess if there's one little tip I am going to put here, it's like, early on when this thing started going on, there was a lot of appreciation for all these people we mentioned before, especially the medical workers. And I think that that's dipped a little bit more recently. And Michelle can speak to this herself. I don't think she will, but she could, that it hasn't been as much appreciation as there used to be. Let's all remember these people and that they fought so hard and worked so hard through this period. And I know it's trying, and we know we're all on edge for this, but just remember that they're out there trying to help you. And so be kind to them. Listen to what they're telling you and just remember them and thank them. That's the most important thing. I guess that's my little tip.
Yeah. What a great segment there, sweetie. I totally agree with you. I couldn't say it any better. I think that part about thanking people, like I said, the grocery store stocker, are like you said, the delivery person who's, going out there and bringing packages to every home and everything. And I know they're working much harder than ever before, not only just because there's so many more deliveries, plus the holiday deliveries, but there are a lot of people struggling with having COVID and haven't been able to go to work. And so the other people are having to really, put in some additional effort. So everybody out there, it's really been amazing. And you're right. It's time to say thank you to these people.
Yeah. Again, I wanted to bring out the bright spots of 2020, the work of these people and everything they've done for us to help us get through these troubling times. Those are some of the brightest bright spots that we've had in 2020. So thank you again very much. So that's it for this week. Next week, well, as we already discussed, it's time. We are into 2021. The first week of 2021 is our induction into our Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame. So we will be inducting a new class this year. If you haven't voted yet on the final ballot, you still have some days to do it, depending on when you're listening to this, of course. You have until the end of December 31st, midnight on December 31st, to get those votes in.
Midnight East Coast or West Coast?
Yes. I'm going to say West Coast.
Okay.
So 3 a.m. East Coast, so on January 1st, it'll be fine. But try and get it in before that. So just so there's no question on that. And plus I need to, Baymax fell there. But get those votes in. Make sure that your favorite characters, your favorite films, your favorite attractions, your favorite songs, all make it into the Hall of Fame. And again, you can enter in for the prize package and give us your name and give us your email address, or you don't have to do that. Right. We just want your vote, but we appreciate you helping us so much. And we will be announcing that class next week.
Yeah, it's exciting. And it's going to be fun and a lot of great memories of things with where all these great classic characters and movies have, taken us throughout our lives.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. It's always a fun episode. So looking forward to finding out who our new inductees will be.
Right.
It'll be really good. So we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there,
you can sign up for our newsletter. And if you do that this week, you'll actually get the address of how to exchange correspondence with the Disney characters.
Yes, and if you get that autograph from Sven, please take a picture of it. I want to know what Sven's autograph looks like. I'm excited. I don't know if you can, but if you get one, I want to know what it looks like. So yes, please sign up, subscribe to the newsletter. Again, it's mostly just being a part of the Hyperion Adventures world that much more, being in the know. And we really like that. You can be more in the Hyperion Adventures world by following us on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We have a YouTube channel where we mostly show you just videos of these episodes, but we embellish them with pictures and some things. I'm sure there'll be a lot of stuff from the things that we discussed this week that will pop up there on this week's episode. If you want to find us there, just do a quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast, hit subscribe, and then you'll know whenever you have a new video. And if you ever want to comment on anything or just contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
And for those of you who have already corresponded with us, we always appreciate it. And we invite all of you to, again, let us know how things are going. And if there's a topic you'd like us to cover, or if you have questions about something that we've shared. And the other thing that we really appreciate is reviews.
Yes.
But most importantly, if you just tell a friend about our podcast.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. Just tell your friends. But if you give us a review, it's a 5-star review, we will share it on the show. I mean, mostly we want to know how we're doing. But, if you give us a review, it really helps in so many ways. And we will be happy to share it on the show. But mostly, we're wrapping up 2020 here. Michelle, I know I'm speaking for her here. We want to thank you, the listeners, the friends, the family members, the Hyperion Adventures, for following along with us this year. And some of you joined us, midway through this year, but we appreciate you so very much. Thank you always for contributing, for being a part, or even if you never contribute, if you just listen and enjoy, thank you very much.
Right.
So, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next year, next week.
Right.
Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a happy new year.
Yay.